A website allows you to convey your message to your visitors throughout the world. But what about your visitors if they want to contact you? And this is why I have made a contact page in our website. Take a look at the bottom of the section. Here I want to insert a form where my visitors can enter their name, their email and their message and then have the ability to send that message to me. And for this we are going to make a form in our web page. So first of all I'm gonna select this text and delete this text. Now to insert a form in this web page, go to Insert panel and then in the subcategory select Form. And here you will be able to see different elements of a form which are used in a web design. First of all, I'm going to select the first option and that is the form. If I select this, you can see a dashed border area has been generated in our web page. But what happened in the code? Let's take a look. If I select the split mode, then here you can see that a form tag has been inserted in our web page with ID form1. Okay, so now let's come to Insert panel. Now place your cursor inside of this area and now I'm going to create a name text field, and for this I'm going to click on this text button, and in the design view you can see that a text field has been added in our form tag, and you can also see in the code view. Now below our text field I want to add another text field for the email. I place my cursor at the end of the text field and then hit enter. Now in the insert panel and then in the form, for email text field I'm going to select the email button. So select it, and now in the form an email text field has been added. Next I want to insert a text field for the message. I place my cursor at the end of email text field and then hit enter, and then in the insert panel I'm going to select the text area. If I select it, now you can see that in the form a text area has been added. Next I want to add a submit button, and for this I'll click at the end of text area and then hit enter, and then in the insert I'm going to select the submit button. So select it, and a basic structure of our form has been completed. Now let's come to the design view, and now I'm going to customize these fields. So first of all I'm going to select the text field for the name. Click on this field, and now in the properties panel you can see the properties of this text field. First of all I'm going to change the name or ID of this text field to name, and then I'm going to change the text field text to name. Also I'm going to select the value of this text field, your name, and then check the required and then turn on the live view to preview this text field, and then you can see the changes. Now turn off the live view and then select the email text field, and its name is already email, and enter its value, your email. Then check the required and then select the text area, and then in the value I'm going to enter here your message. Check the required and change the text area text to message. And I also want this text area box under message text, and I will place my cursor between the message text and the text area and then hit enter. Now let's come to the submit button and then select this, and for the submit button everything is fine, and we will take a look at the submit action or the form submission in the next lecture. And now we have the structure of the form in our website, and now I want to stylize this form. So I'm going to turn on the live view and then come to the CSS designer panel, and we know that we can stylize this form in CSS. So select the CSS designer panel and then select the style sheet CSS, and I'm gonna create a new selector. Click on the plus button, and now we know that for the name text field we have its ID as name, and enter the hash number here, and then you can see different selectors which you can add here. And I'm gonna select the name and hit enter. Now for the name, I'm gonna change its padding. So link all the values and then change the padding value. And in the live view, you can see the changes. So I want 7 pixels for the padding. And then I want to round its corners, and that is in the border section of properties. Here in the border radius, link all the values and then change its value. And in the design view, you can see the changes. And I want this to be 8 pixels. And another style I want to add for the name text field is that when I hover on this field, its border should be changed to red. And for that property, we have to create a new selector. And for that, click on the plus button in the selectors and then enter here hash name. As I want this property for the name ID, but I want this to be on hover over. And for this, I'm gonna insert here colon, and now you can see different properties which I can select. I'm gonna select the hover because I want the hover over property. Selecting the hover and then hit enter. And for the hover, I want to change the border color to red. I'm gonna select the red and then hit enter. Now if I go to the live view and hover on this name text field, and then you can see its border is being changed. And now I'm going to do the same process with the email. In the selectors, click on the plus and then enter here hash and then email. Hit enter. Now the quickest method to do this is to copy and paste the styles. I select the name ID and then right click on it and copy all styles. And then select the email and then paste styles here. And now in the design view you can see the changes and how quickly I have done this. Another property I want for the email hover. I'm gonna enter here email and then colon and hover. Hit enter and then copy the styles of name hover and then paste these styles in email hover. Now you can see that these fields are working fine. And for the message text field, I'm going to leave it as it is, and for the submit, I'm going to create a new selector. So in the selectors, click on the plus and then enter here hash and then submit here and then hit enter. And now first of all, I'm going to add a padding to submit. I'll select the style sheet, and in the style sheet, here is our submit ID. And in the padding section, I'm going to increase its value, linking all the values and then increasing the padding. And you can see the changes. And in the text, I want the submit text to be bold. Change its font weight to bold. And here it is. And now I want to change the background of this submit button, and that is in the background section of the properties. Selecting the background section, and now I want to add a gradient background, and selecting the gradient, and then in the gradient you have to select 2 values. I'm going to select the first value to some lighter red, and the second value I want to change this value, and then hit enter. And in the design view you can see the changes. Now save this page and then preview this page in browser. and here it is. We have a form in our web page and it's looking great. Now move on to next lecture to learn about form submission.